Cheating wife who lied on polygraph hoped to get marriage counseling but was served with divorce papers instead. I found that my wife is cheating with a high school friend she reconnected with a couple weeks ago. I have the full log of text messages between them in all its sordid detail. In these messages, it appears clear that they hooked up at least 3 times. Not only that, but she is bragging about having sex with this guy to 2 of her friends. I confronted her and she broke down crying and started telling me that it was just an online-only fantasy. She tells me that I drove her to this because I didn't give her enough attention and that she was desperate. It's true, we haven't had sex very frequently lately because I have a relatively low libido to begin with. I am full of resentment at the fact that I do 90% of the housework and childcare, and the fact that I haven't slept in the bed for a couple of years because she likes to co-sleep with the kids. I guess I am culpable. Apparently, I made her do this. She also says she stuck with me through all the things I have done in the past. I was not very good with money for a while and overspent forcing her to borrow money from her dad. I had a brief period where I questioned and I have been a frequent user of X movies. Are these things equivalently odious? Should I allow myself to be guilted into staying in this marriage like this? Anyway, through all this I have no photos of them together, so I guess I can't definitively prove anything, yet the texts appear to be clear what happened despite her insistence that they are just fantasies. I start to relent and give her what she wants. I suggest maybe we need to see someone to help sort through these problems. We did counseling in the past, but I am not a very emotionally open guy and had a hard time talking, but she also resisted the counselor whenever he pushed back against her. She wanted him to fix me and didn't take kindly to being told that she might have a role to play in our difficulties too. So after we conclude this discussion, with her steamrolling me, and offering to let me text her AP and friend for more info, I come to find out later from her text messages that she was texting both her AP and one of her friends to see if they would cover for her and tell me it was fantasy only. LOL. I printed every text message she sent him. Why would she use text to contact someone to arrange cover? Good grief. I haven't confronted her yet about this. But it sure doesn't bode well for any reconciliation. We tried to have some makeup sex after, but before I read her attempts at covering things up, but I had a hard time maintaining an and couldn't finish because I kept thinking about the things said in the messages. I don't know about reconciliation. I was all set to leave her and then the crocodile tears got to me. But this new revelation of cover stories opens it all up again. I don't know what to do anymore. She makes more than I do, we have a house, kids, etc. And being a very involved parent, I need to have my kids at least 50-50ths. I am afraid that my low-paying job will hinder that as a possibility. Any advice? Thanks for reading. Now let's listen to some comments on this part from our Reddit listeners. Tercer78. It sounds like this relationship has been terrible for a very long time. Don't give your children such a terrible image of what a marriage should look like. They deserve to see a healthy and happy relationship filled with mutual trust and respect. This relationship has none of that. Y'all don't belong together and can learn to be co-parents with 50-50 custody so that you can fully give your kids the time and attention they deserve without the stress and strain of a failed loveless marriage. DRGMSTR97. The description of your relationship alone is enough to just divorce. Add in the cheating and you should absolutely leave this relationship. You have proof of her trying to cover it up. There is no reason you should not get some support from her when you split. Consult a lawyer and file for divorce. She has already proven to be deceptive, so ask the lawyer about splitting funds and do not leave the home. She showed no remorse when caught. This is proof that she no longer loves you or respects your marriage. It is time to plan the exit. Update. Unfortunately, I realize now that I may have jumped the tool in confronting her as I have nothing other than text messages to prove her cheating on me. I have nothing that catches her in flagranti delicto, exactly, although to my mind the texts are absolutely clear on what happened. They also show her running cover with her friends, and admissions of an affair, etc. But nonetheless, she is doubling down on her story that no physical contact occurred. I have no pictures. She has gone so far as to offer to take a polygraph to prove her story. Enter the voice recorder. Oh, how I wish I had one of these a week or two ago. Anyway, on Friday, she thought all was well and went over to AP's place. I slipped the recorder in her purse and overheard their conversation. They didn't have sex, but she said to him it was a lot of fun and outlined her strategy to use marriage counseling as a way to push for an open relationship. She also said that she would do it again if she gets a chance and propositioned him just before leaving. The next day I told her I wanted a divorce. She doubled down on her story and wouldn't let me go, saying that you're just going to throw 10 years of marriage away. Excuse me, no, you threw 10 years of marriage away. She went over to his house again today to drop something off, no contact, right? And again, got even more admissions of sex. This time also, she outlined her strategy with the polygraph. According to the polygraph people, you can submit your own questions. Her story relies on the fact that other people were present when they met. Okay, probably true. So she's going to write questions along those lines to prove her story. But really, who cares if other people were present? AP has other rooms in his house, doesn't he? I wonder if it is worth letting her proceed with the polygraph, but insist that I be the one who writes the questions. Or really, is it even worth it? I probably have enough and should just run off to a lawyer. But I kind of want to see her waste $600. Is that petty? LOL. She thinks she can get around this by doing the polygraph and booking marriage counseling. She bought a book yesterday called His Needs, Her Needs, or something like that, and is insisting we read it together. What an infuriating book. It reads like no one has a choice but to fall into an affair. She keeps coming to me with passages that read like it is an inevitability. Too bad she didn't buy this book before she decided to duck someone else. This book is in the hands of the WS. Thanks for your responses to my previous post. The advice, support, and even the kicks to the nuts are all well appreciated. Update: my wife went to see her doctor today. When I got home, she told me she told the doctor her story. She told me that the doctor agrees with her that she had no choice but to do what she did and that she shouldn't take any blame for her actions. She also told her doc that I had been talking to my dad about this affair. Her doctor, apparently, thinks that I was wrong to do so. But what the duck? This is my goddamn dad. I have one friend in this town and he is supportive generally but not terribly profound. Who the duck else am I supposed to talk to? I can't turn around here without bumping into someone that doesn't know all of my dirty laundries, since my wife has always been fond of offloading all of her relationship problems with her friends, and she knows this bothers me. We had this argument a few years ago where she was talking to friends, including mutual friends, about her problems with me. It got to the point where I was embarrassed to be around my friends since they seemed to know everything going on, from my wife's point of view, of course. And the minimizing of my feelings continues. She says, "Oh, don't be angry, just calm down, just get over it." God damn it, I am so ducking angry right now I am shaking. This is a whole new level of manipulation. Livid. Update: so I had a sneaking suspicion that my WS would use this, her last opportunity to stray before going back into work from home previously, full-time next week, plus the fact that AP usually has Friday off, to have another meet-up with her AP. And duck me sideways, but I was right. Despite her protestations that she wants to reconcile, she has continued contact with her AP and contacted him to meet today at lunch. He shut her down and said it would be a bad idea. Now she is upset that she is being rejected by 2 men. I just can't even believe what's going on here. But before any of you proceed to call me a doormat, my resolve was firm yesterday, but only strengthened today. I will meet with lawyers next week. Not sure whether to even bother confronting her with this. I just have no hope left. Remember, for those considering reconciliation, trust, but verify. Final update. I have had a few people ask for an update, so I thought I would post one here, despite the fact you will probably all rake me over the coals for being unassertive, etc. Anyway, my STBXW continues to deny any physical involvement with AP. She is doubling down on her story. The day we got the polygraph and I called bullcrap, she decided to take the kids for a couple hours and texted me calling me a ducking moron and told me that I took the kids so you could see what it is like to be without your family. Thanks, really nice. Already weaponizing the children. Keep in mind too that throughout all this, I have yet to swear at her, yell at her, call her names. She has now down all 3. And to top it off, I grey rocked her for a week or so and slept in the basement. In response to this, she started to say that I was treating her horribly. I mean, really? I was giving her the cold shoulder and not giving her any attention, and yet she continues to blame me for everything, lies to me, turns me into the butt of all jokes at her workplace, and I'm the one treating her horribly? Indeed. She was still in constant contact with AP until last Friday. Even in the text to inform him she would not be contacting him, she qualified it by saying for a while. No, this is not for a while, this is permanent. She just does not get it. Her claim all along is that this was strictly online, and that because online, not a relationship. Really? Not a relationship? She has a personal history with this guy, she met up with him 3 times, but because most of it was via text, there is no relationship. She even goes on Facebook on Friday and posts something to the effect that you don't realize how important someone is until you can't talk to them anymore. Somehow I don't think she is talking about me. I found out today that she is telling her friend she misses him so badly. Funny that she would say that if it was not a relationship. Her coworkers are also looking for other ways to get her in contact with him, via email, or some other means. Definitely not over. Last week I also got an admission from her, via a coworker, that she was indeed lying on the polygraph. She said, well actually I was lying, I'm pretty good, I could be a criminal, I should rob a bank, I would pass the test. She also admitted to taking so much of her coworker's lorazepam that she doesn't even remember the drive back to work that day. I also heard that she has been saying that AP wants to do it again, she wants to do it again. She seems to have an obsession with his truck and so badly wants to go for a ride in it. They never got a chance before I broke up the fun, but clearly it is still on her mind. But apparently he is such a sweet guy that he wants us to fix up our marriage first. She wrote me a sob story of a letter in which she once again pinned all blame on me, and even said that I would really like AP, he's a real cool guy. Indeed. I would like to see him spit his teeth out on the floor. I stopped reading. I left my ring on the bathroom counter last week and she came home and found it. She came and badgered me for an hour while I was cooking supper, and eventually I relented and put it back on. She came home Friday in tears after I texted her about how this was affecting me. She is, I think, maybe, starting to realize the crap she has caused and finally acknowledged my feelings. I softened, again, but I also haven't really changed my mind. I just want the argument to end, and I just am not assertive enough to say enough is enough, just duck off. So I went for a 3-hour walk and started to let her back in a little. I also agreed to the marriage counseling this week. I don't want to go. Since I started to let her in a little, she has once again started to invalidate my feelings and try to get me to agree with her that what she did does not constitute a relationship, etc. If I would just do that, I would feel less stressed. It's just that simple. I had a really good session with a therapist last week who works in the same office where we are taking our marriage counseling. She was very affirmative and thinks that I should trust my gut on this one. She stopped short of advocating for divorce, saying that it's my choice, but also said that I deserve better. Pretty sure I understand her subtext. MC will be with a different therapist, but in the same office, so this gives me some hope that they might be more or less on the same page and will push back against my STBXW a little. I know her primary agenda is to push for an open marriage. I guess through MC, I hope to present the whole story of what happened, and hope to reiterate my desire to divorce. Perhaps having someone else there will help to embolden me and bolster my position. I don't know though, taking a bit of a risk there, I think, given the fact I know most of you seem to disagree with MC under the circumstances. I do have a lawyer on retainer. Unfortunately, it is a slow process so far. He has advised starting with a mutually agreed separation agreement as it tends to be a less conflictual and litigious process over straight-up filing. I know this will disappoint some of you, and me, frankly, that there may be a dramatic serving of papers in the workplace, but I, as a relatively low-income earner, and with 3 kids, am inclined to agree with his advice, at least for now, and depending on what her response is, and the type of lawyer she decides to select. I am in the process of gathering the necessary documents for him to get started on this. In the meantime, I am a little less of a wreck than I was a week ago. Some of the initial shock and anxiety is wearing off. It is, however, coming back since I stopped with the gray rock bit this week. Every time I get near her, I start getting anxious and just disgusted. I can't stand to be around her, so I have been taking a lot of walks in the evenings, and I'm glad to be back to work after the weekend. Having trouble sleeping next to her too, especially since she has started to bug me for sex already. Nope, sorry, not doing that. Having some real trouble with self-worth ideation that is really scaring me too. I couldn't do that to my kids, but at the same time, my front tires are bald and I keep hoping for a blowout followed by a fiery crash on the highway to work. I'm ducking miserable, and she is continuing on more or less like nothing ever happened. Disgusting. That's it for now, I suppose. Perhaps I will have another update after MC this week. I'm sure that will be a craps how. Thanks for reading, and your past support. By all means, call me what you will, I need it. Edit, I thought I would add a few words since the thread got locked before I got a chance to respond to any comments. I want to say thank you. I expected, indeed even hoped, for some harsh words, and I was not disappointed. I will use these to steel myself for tomorrow night's craps how. As to the kids, I know all of this and fully agree that coming from a broken home is to be preferred to living in one. Thankfully, so far there have not been any big blowouts inside the home or in front of the kids. The younger 2 are completely oblivious 8, 5, although I am sure they can pick up on my mood to some extent. My oldest knows something is going on. In fact, when the kids were out with STBXW, when she scooped them last week and told me she wanted me to see what it would be like without my family, he asked her if we were going to divorce. She said no. She does not, of course, want a divorce. Clearly, she doesn't care about her reputation among her coworkers, as they all know. But her family is quite another story.